Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and in just a moment we're going to be reviewing some 4-card pot limit Omaha hands that I played last night, and we'll get around to explaining the reason for that in just a moment. I expect many of you will already have turned off because, well, it's not No Limit Hold'em, is it? So that'll be a lot of you just hitting the let's fuck off button. But before you do, please join me in congratulating my friend Quadsy. It's Quadsy from Sky, who last night qualified for the Sky Vegas promo. He's off to Las Vegas with Sky to play in a Sky Poker Tour event live in Vegas with them. He the whole package was worth 4,000 quid, and it's something he wanted to achieve, and I'm absolutely delighted for him. I've known Quadsy online for a long time now. He used to make my life a fucking misery on Sky. Then he created, when I went to Triple Eight Snap, he created a Triple Eight account called himself Quadsy Time because he's a fucking bell end, and made my life hell there when we were playing at the same time. And then I worked with him when I was doing the apps. He's a thoroughly pleasant chap, and I normally don't give a fuck if people I've never met and don't know very well, even people that I have met and know. I'm not really enthused by other people's success very often. Normally, I don't give a fuck, but Quadsy is a good guy, and I'm really pleased for him. The added kicker for me last night was the person who bubbled is a thoroughly large bell end. So not only did my friend Quadsy get the ticket, a complete bell end bubbled as well. It was fucking delightful. Absolutely delightful. I never thought it was possible to ejaculate through a flaccid penis. But last night, well, when that bubble burst and Quadsy had made it, and a certain person hadn't made it, then yeah, it was quite remarkable. So I decided to celebrate. I just wanted to play some poker. It was Christ knows what time in the morning. And I was like, let's just do something a bit fucking different. Let's just have a bit of fun. So I stuffed £150 onto Grosvenor with the intention of just playing some €50 PLO, probably knowing I was going to lose it, but maybe now and again you can just have a fun session and make a few bob as well. And this is the outcome of that session, what we're about to witness here. On a more serious note, poker this month for me, financially, it's been meh, tiny bit of profit, nothing major. Not ran well, not played well, not been super enthused by it all. So this last night was just a bit of a lash out, bit of a let's just have some fun, let's just enjoy ourselves for an hour. And this is we're going to look at the hands and go from there. There's going to be lots and lots of good hands because it's PLO, and you don't need to play bad hands because you get enough good hands. This might be one of the worst ones, one of the worst starting hands we have in the entire video. It's going to be a lot of ace, XX, and then just seeing where the cards lie, basically. So anyway, yeah, we started this table. This player playing 80/40 over just 10 hands. Makes it 150. We make it €5. You're going to see in this video, by the way, I used to always open for pot, and then every time I got a chance to raise pre-flop, it was just pot. There's going to be less of that in this video. And the reasons are quite simple. It's nothing to do with any strategy, or I think it's better, or I think it's good. If I'm playing a hand in PLO, if I'm open raising it, I want to see a flop with it. So just using smaller raise sizes just means that 3 bets are cheaper to call, so I can just see flop still. It's pretty fishy logic. Couldn't give a fuck. I am a fish these days. I am a recreational playing fish. I will do fishy logic things to enhance my enjoyment of the game. So you'll see later in the video I'm opening for nowhere near pot, which means I never have to fold pre-flop unless it goes bonkers behind me. So we potted it here. Oh, sorry, we've made it €5 here, sorry. And we've flopped just about as well as you can, really. We've flopped top 2 pairs. We have a good shot straight draw and a weak but maybe okay spade draw. It's a 3-bet pot, so he should have less of the small. So he should have less flush draws in general in his range, because it's a 3-bet pot. But so yeah, I think our flush draw has a little bit more value in a 3-bet pot. In a single raise pot, I think it would have a bit less value. But in a Am I talking bollocks here? I don't fucking know. But basically, it's not the worst flush draw anyway, because there's the jack already out there. There's only like a king and a queen high flush draw. It's higher than mine. We got the 10 and the 9, so it's going to need to have something like queen 8, queen 7 spades, king 8, king 7, king 6 spades. So if we make a flush, we're going to be pretty confident in our hand. We also have top 2 pair and a gut shot, although the gut shot isn't to the nuts. The gut shot is to the nuts. Fucking shut it, Reg. Anyway, basically, we love our hand. So the turn doesn't really help us very much. We still just have the 2 pairs. It does improve us to like another straight draw. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. King. Look at me, I'm a fucking idiot. Anyways, our opponent does this. And at this point, when someone goes this, like takes this line, it usually means that the turn card's improved them in PLO. It's like, right, I wasn't that strong on the flop, but now I'm stronger on the turn. That could be he's improved to a set of queens. It could be he's improved to like aces and queens. Maybe he's got the king 10. But at this point, I'm like, well, I'm probably not ahead anymore, but we have like outs to a bow, outs to a flush, and outs to a straight too. So we're still, we can't go anywhere. It's just call and hope to improve to something nutted. And we do improve to the absolute nuts. Problem is, he's probably got the absolute nuts too. At this point, you only need a 10 with any other Broadway card, and you have the nuts. So this hand is just going to end up being a chop. But it was a big pot, even though it ended up being a chop. And, yep, there we go. Next time, we're playing 3-handed. We opened... It was, for some reason, this hand's in big blinds. I don't know why. We've opened to €1.20 or 2.4 big blinds. Our opponent calls. We flop ourselves just a pair with a backdoor club draw. We're against someone who's playing like 55/18 over a smallish sample. We may have the best time, we may not, but we do have a good shot too. We have backdoor clubs, etc. I think our hand's worth a bet. Let's see if I do. Yeah, we do bet, just small. Our opponent check raises, which is not fun. But because of our like backdoor equity, we have the gut shot, we have the backdoor club draw. We just can't go anywhere just yet. We just have to call and hope the turn card's kind to us. Which it might be. We've hit our second pair. Now we have top 2 pairs. We also have now this the second nut flush draw. And our opponent bets the full pot. At this point, I was like, fuck, probably, you know, up against a better hand here. Maybe like a set of deuces, set of sevens. 8-9's unlikely, but he could have like 8-9 in some sort of like rundown sort of combination. So it's not as unlikely as it would be in No Limit Hold'em, because he can have like 8-9 in quite a few different combinations of hands that maybe, you know, for example, I mean, the worst case scenario here would be something like, yes, like 7-7, 8-9, something like that, or deuce, deuce, 8-9, which is unlikely. He's probably not going to have those hands, but he can definitely have 8-9 combinations. He can definitely have all the sets. Even though we block the sets of 10, sets of jacks and sets of 10s. But again, we've got, I think we've got too much equity here. And if the board doesn't pair the river and we improve, then say we improve to a flush or a straight, then we're probably going to get paid when he takes this line. I think this call, I don't know if we should just fold here. It's very obvious we're beat. We need to hit to win. But I think we just have, again, just too much equity. We have top 2 pair and a second nut flush draw. Just don't think we're allowed to fold here. Looks like I'm about to go all in. Don't remember this hand. Yeah, I'm surprised I went all in. I thought I would just call there and then just like get the money if I hit and then just fold if I don't improve, because I think it's very, very clear we're beat. So maybe there we could just call. That cup of tea I made is fucking rancid. So maybe we can just call there and just like when we hit, when we improve, get the money, and when we don't fold. I don't know. But we decided to like punt it with him, and we were behind. We had 15 outs, so which is always nice. No, that many outs. So even though we've still got like 30% equity, just over 30%, I think, or maybe just under, around 30% anyway. And the guy I mean, I had no idea what his flop check raise is all about. No idea. 10-10, 8 ace is just not a check raise. He hits his gin card on the turn, and we're left needing to get there. And we do. We improve to the nuts. A bit of a stinker for this lad, but never mind. Don't check raise on the flop, and don't let me get there on the river. Here we have 2 aces, which are going to overlimp here. I wonder why I've done that. I think the reason I've overlimped here is because, yes, I do remember now why we overlimped. We were hoping either this guy or this guy. This guy's playing at multiple tables. He's got this 23 5-star over 21, but he was like auto reloading. I thought he was a reg, so I thought maybe him would try to isolate, and then we could get a back raise in. That was the plan. We do get the isolation raise from the player who's a reg, or a player who we suspected was a reg. As expected, I think this player's going to come along. He does, and then we just get to now just put the max back raise in. Now, I was saying earlier that I was never using pot pre-flop. This is a situation where if I'm doing this or if I'm 4-betting pre-flop, I will absolutely use pot because you're turning your hand face up anyway, so you may as well just put the maximum amount of money in. I mean, our hand is face up here, but it's not great aces, so I'd rather just have as big a pot as possible because we're just going to jam the flop probably. So I'd rather the pot was just as big as possible, so they're making like larger mistakes pre-flop, and then if they just outflop me, then good for them. They're just going to get me. Probably a shit way to play aces, but as I said, I'm a recreational player now, so I'm allowed to do shit things. And this guy comes along too, and we get this flop, which is just whatever. I mean, it's entirely possible somebody could have 8x here. Entirely possible. It's entirely possible somebody could have pocket jacks. It's not a good flop, but we have an SPR of about 1. So we're just going to go all in, and that's just going to be that, isn't it? That's just going to be how it's going to be. If we're beat, we're beat. You can see me here. I'm looking. I've got the open ender. I'm looking at my open enders. You see in a minute. I also go here and point at the jack, which is my way of saying this fucker could have pocket jacks. But you know, we could be drawing very close to dead here, but we're just gonna have to get the money in because he can just have kings and maybe he just calls anyway. We do go all in. He snap rebangs it for another €2, which obviously we're going to call. It's not nice when he does that. When he's like, just bang, I'm all in 2. Like, oh, fuck. He's got to hope it's kings. You just got to hope it's fucking kings. And he had that hand, which obviously nothing wrong with what he's done. He's got a very, very pretty hand pre-flop. He can't fold when we 4-bet. He just has to call that hand, and then he just flops pretty well. He flops top pair, and he flops. You know, he's got a ton of straight outs. Or he thinks he's got. Would he have a ton of straight outs? 10-9. So he can hit a king. He can hit a queen. He can hit a 7. It says he's only got 6 outs there. Ah, yes, because why has he only got 6? I don't fucking understand. Anyway, it's too much to fucking work out. It's too early in the morning. But basically, we're in as good shape as we can be, even though he's got a fucking miserable fucking hand for us to be against. And he gets there on the turn, and then we get there on the river, which is. He doesn't get there on. Fucking shut up, Reg, you fucking fat idiot. Too early for this. I was going to get up early and make this video, then I didn't. Then I've got to pick Bailey up in like 40 minutes, and I'm rushing it in now without focusing. Rushing it in. But anyways, upshot is we won €112 pot, and everything was going swimmingly. Delightful. Delightful to see. This guy now pots under the gun. Kashmir, who is clearly a whale, calls. He calls. Here we're going to squeeze, and we're going to squeeze for the full pot because again we're pretty much turning our hand face up. In fact, I don't think I do squeeze here. I think I just call here because my aces are so shit and so dry, and because nobody's going to fold and my hand's going to be face up. I actually think I choose to just call here from memory. Yeah, I do. And we flop ourselves. Top set. We check. This guy bets. We're just going to call. Obviously, there's plenty of potential for someone to have a flush out there that isn't going to fold. River goes check, turn goes check, check, which makes you think, yeah, he could still have a flush. A small flush, doesn't want to get raised. But he could also just have a hand that's scared of the 10. Maybe he's worried that King Queen's got there. But it just none of that matters because we end up rivering the full house. Only a small pot, this one. Not really sure why this one's made it. Apologies, I've lost my train of thought. My phone just rang. But yeah, we're onto the river now. He's checked back. We've rivered the full house, so now it's just a matter of betting and hoping we get paid and like trying to think about what do we think our opponent might have here that's going to call. I mean, we do kind of guess we're hoping he's got a baby flush, or maybe he's turned a straight or something. But I mean, we're going to bet pretty big and just hope he's got a calling hand. We bet 12. He does call, and do we pull over and see what he had? I think we'll probably do. Do we? No, we absolutely don't. So we don't know what he had, but he did call. And more aces. What a fucking surprise. What an enormous surprise. I've got aces again. We've had a limp. We've had a open. We're going to 3-bet to €8. And we get a call from this player who's playing 77.30 now. Same player we played in the first part of the video. He's gone down to 77.30, but still clearly like way out of line stats. We flop ourselves a full house. And opponent leads for half pot. And my decision here is basically, do we just like put the rest of the money in now? I mean, obviously at the moment we've got the nuts unless he has quads. You know, and we're only if we are ahead, we're only vulnerable to like a 10 Jack Queen King or Ace coming off, which will give it like a bigger full house if he has any of those hands. So our hand's relatively invulnerable. But I just think when players take this line, they're just not going to fold. They're just going to have something they like. Some kind of overpair to the board, maybe. If he's got a 9, then hallelujah, good for him. He's got a 9. I didn't expect this guy to fold when he took this line. I just think he has a full house, like always. So he decided just to put the money in. He did call. He did have the full house. And we won the pot. Kings this time. We've got a downgrade. We've gone all the way down to pocket kings. That's how just how bad I was running. We have to put a pocket kings hand in the video. We open to €1.20, 2 callers, and we get a not great flop. But I think we probably need to bet our hand. We've got a second nut flush draw. We do have an overpair. I mean, I guess there's a good chance we could be behind here, but we're just going to bet and find out, see what's going on. We get called, and this guy folds. We turn, well, it's effectively the nuts. Of course, we'll beat by quads now, but I mean, again, we've got the nuts, haven't we? You can see by my sizing here, we start off going smallish. Then I was like thinking, what type of hand are we targeting here? 10x, probably going to call almost anything. Jack Queen, flush draws. Lots of hands that are just going to call large bets, so you can see it gradually wind and like crank the bet sizing up to 550. An opponent calls. River is a jack, which is obviously still really good. Obviously, there's a raw flush out there now and a straight flush. If he's got that, then please just take my money. I mean, it would really stink to bet on this river and get raised. But I'm about to check, but that's not the reason. We're not checking because we're worried about the straight flush. My thing here was just like this jack's probably made him get there in some way, either with the flush, with like a smaller full house, with some more straights, etc. I just thought this guy's just going to bet. No, he's going to have a hand that can bet, and we can just get a check raising. If we just bet here, he's going to call most of the time, and we can only win what we bet. I was greedy here. I was a greedy boy, and I went for the check with the intention of just like hoping he bet big, and then we could just like snap the raise in. So we did go a bit greedy, and our opponent checked back, and we're going to drag his hand over in just a moment. And we certainly missed value with our greed because he had Jack Queen. So on the turn he had a straight, and then the river he just checked back his straight, which I don't blame him for. It's a paired board, and a flush has got there, so don't blame him at all for checking back. Maybe in hindsight on that run out, I shouldn't have been checking to induce straights to bet because they're just not going to bet. But if he's got a 10x, if he's got 10 jack, 10 9, etc., he's probably going to bet them if he's got a full house. A bit greedy there, really. Probably should just bet. Here we have 2 aces and 2 10s. We've opened. We've been 3-bet by someone who now is clearly showing themselves to be a regular. You can't really see on this table, but he was at the other table too, and I could just tell he was a regular. So we just like mash the pot button, turn our hand face up again, just try and get as low an SPR as possible, of course. And we flop ourselves a top set, and there's 72 euros in the pot. There's 20 odd, so they've got an SPR of like 0.3, something like that. About 0.3. I mean, we could check here and hope this guy bets, but if it's a reg, he's just not going to. He's just not going to turn his hand to a bluffer. We obviously have pocket aces. He knows we have aces, nearly all of the time here. He's not going to bet. And we got an SPR of 0.3, so we just piled the money in because I didn't think there was any point in like making a trap type place. We just bet the maximum. This player knows we have 2 aces and folds. This player maybe didn't know we had 2 aces because he called with 1 pair and the backdoor 10 high flush draw. Which is like, what do you mean, sir? What on earth are you talking about? I mean, fold to the first 3-bet, fold to the 4-bet, fold now. I mean, we're delighted that this has happened because we got this guy in absolutely fucking crushed. He's got like 6% equity, something like that probably, which is very hard to do in PLO. It's hard to get someone in that badly dominated. Turn, nothing changes. River, nothing changes, and we dragged down €113 pot, which is incredibly pleasant. It's an incredibly pleasant thing to do. Here we have the. This is not a good hand. Why is this one in? Because this is not a good hand. This, I guess, it's because we got these 2 absolute whales. But we're opening into a reg. This guy I'm tagged green, but there's a session on. I thought maybe he's just an aggro reg. But whatever, we've opened it. It's a fucking really bad hand. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Then we get squeezed by this guy, and we've got a really bad hand, but it has nut potential, and there's 2 wheels that we're pretty deep with, like 80 euros deep with these 2, deep with him. Oh, well, whatever. Come on, let's see a flop then. Neither of these guys are ever going to back raise. I mean, he 3-bets 1.1%, he 3-bets 0% so far. So we know we're going to see a flop, and we have a nut maker. Like, well, YOLO. Let's just see if we can't make the nuts. We do flop ourselves trip aces with no kicker. He checks. I mean, what does that mean when he checks? I don't fucking know. But I don't particularly want to bet and get raised here. If he does have a hand like 2 queens, 2 kings, we're not going to win a huge pot from him. If he has a much better race, he's never going to fold it and could potentially raise us. So didn't see an awful lot of value in betting, so we check back. Turn checks again. Now I'm just pretty sure he's just got like probably pocket kings, or maybe just some rundown that's totally missed. I don't know, like Jack Queen King Ace, or 10 Jack Queen King, 9 10 Jack Queen, that type of thing. So now we're just going to try and bet for some, like basically target the pocket kings and just go pretty small. He snap calls, now like, yeah, you definitely got pocket kings, mate. You definitely got pocket kings. I was almost certain of it. I rarely am I certain of my reading PLO, but I was pretty certain this time. So we just bet like a milky 1/3 again. He does call, and whether we bring it across or not, I don't remember. But he did have pocket kings. A very easy hand to play, but I was very pleased to see that You know, I'd never been more confident in my read. I think his squeeze there is pretty bad. His strat squeeze got 2 absolute stations. And he's like, I just don't think that's a good raise. I mean, his kings are not good. He's got a suit to go with them. But I don't like his raise play. I think it's just too aggressive and unnecessary. But what do I fucking know? Right, where are we playing a hand with Jack 8, 3, 7 here? Why has this made the cut? We flop ourselves on the nuts anyway. I remember why it's made the cut now. So we flop the nuts, bet, called by 2 whales. Turn pairs the board, which is not too delightful. You'd imagine that if either of these guys had a set, they would think about raising the flop. They didn't raise, so at the moment, even though we don't like that, we're still going to continue betting our hand because we might still have the best hand, and we can certainly use some protection if we have, or not protection because no one's going to fold anything, but charge draws. Anyways, we get called in 2 spots again, and then the board runs out with trips on board, so now we'll be by any pair whatsoever. Our hand is virtually worthless now when we get called in 2 spots, so we just check. This guy bets half pot. This guy calls. We're obviously going to fold. I'm not sure if we pull this hand into the replay or not. But he had aces. Yeah, he had aces. Yeah, we don't pull it in. I want to check the other guy had pocket kings. So on the flop, we flopped the nuts. So we had 2 people with over pairs. They were about to massively overplay. We had them absolutely crushed. And then we got a bad run out and we didn't win. But at this point in the night, we were winning pretty healthily. And I wasn't feeling too salty about it. Here we're going to overlimp this hand. I don't think this is a particularly good overlimp, but we are deep as shit, and we do have a nut maker with the ace king and the suited ace, so we overlimp. I mean, maybe I don't know if we should isolate there or not. Don't know if we should if we're fine, just overlimping. What the fuck do I know? I'm not a winning PLO player. I haven't got a clue what I'm fucking doing. This guy is playing relatively straightforward stats, then just pops it up out of the small blind to less than pot, which I thought was a bit odd. Then everyone calls because he's made it less than pot, of course. We don't flop very well whatsoever. I don't even know why this hand's in here. Is there a reason coming that I don't remember? It might be. Yes, I remember why. So again, we're just checking through here. We now improved to like a double gut shot, but in fact, we haven't reached improved to a gut shot with the queen to the nuts. And everyone's checked through again. And at this point, I was like, right, I know I don't have the best hand, but no one else has got a good hand either. No one's got a set unless they've got a set of 5s, I don't think. No one's got straight because no one bet the turn. When all the straights got there, like on the turn 8-7 got there, which we block heavily. King Queen got there, which we have a block or 2, but that doesn't really matter, I don't think. But no one's got anything good here. No one's got a straight or a set. And I know I can't win the pot with my 2-8, so I decided to bluff, assuming that nobody would call without at least a set that they've been tricky with. If this guy has got aces, like I suspect he might have, or kings, then he's probably going to have to fold. When I bet into this many people and he's not closing the action, I mean, maybe he just calls anyway. Who knows? Maybe he just calls with pocket aces and doesn't give a fuck. But I just felt like no one was going to call if we bluffed, so we went for the bluff. But of course, someone called, and he called with just 2 pairs. Top 2 pairs. Do not get me wrong; it's top 2 pairs. So I guess if he correctly assumes no one's got a set or a straight, then maybe he just presumes he's got the nuts there with top 2 pair. But who knows? Who gives a fuck as well? To be honest with you, I think our bluff's fine. Feels like it's okay. I read the hand well. Someone just called with the hand I didn't think to call with. Never mind. Move along. Yeah, this hand we're not involved in, but it just set up the next hand. So that's why this one's in. So we've got this guy, 42-7s, potted the button, probably just got something pretty good. This guy is a reg, 3-bet from the big blind. Yeah, there's not. We're just going to play this hand through. We're not going to talk too much about it. You've seen the action. You're not fucking stupid. So this guy had pocket aces. His hand. We're not going to look at it on review, but he had pocket aces. He's just had them cracked. I mean, does he have to pay that much off? It's a huge pot. He's lost €165 pot, so he just lost like 80 odd euros from the start of the hand. And I was watching the hand go down, and this hand was that. I think it was like one or two hands later. He'd also just lost a reasonable sized pot under the table, and I thought this guy was just ready to go off. Maybe we got a very nice rundown handy. We want to be involved in this pot. You know, we're very deep with this guy who is clearly a fish. We open, so we call the open. This guy now like makes it max pot, and I wasn't really too worried about this at this time. I mean, the guy was on the ledge; he was ready to jump off. I think at this point, we've all been there, especially if you played PLO. You've all been there where you just like fucking hell, fuck this game, you know. And then you'll end up just playing like a fucking crazy idiot for a little while. I've done it. If you play PLO, you've probably done it too. So I was quite excited by the potential of the situation. In here with a very pretty hand. We just need this guy to call, and we're going to get to see a flop with a very pretty hand, and we could end up playing a huge pot. Sadly, this guy now makes it this much, and I still wanted to call because we had it so fucking deep with this guy. And I think had this guy not been behind, if we were closing the action here at this stack depth, we would just have to call this hand, and I would like probably happily call it. But we had this guy behind. I was like, well, he's just very likely to just jump totally out the window and just repot it. So I was like, oh, fuck it. I was very disappointed, but we did make the fold. And then this guy just does that and calls. And what? How is this just a thing? Because if I'd known he was doing that, we'd have had the money in. It was all very disappointing. It was all very disappointing. We would have flopped really well here. We'd have had, well, not very well. We'd have had the open end straight draw and a flush draw in a multi-way 4-bet pot. You know, where, frankly, all of our draws could have been shit apart from like the Jack 10. The spade draw could be shit. But I'd have been delighted. Whether I wanted to get €185 in against this guy, I do not fucking know. But I would have been very excited. It would have been a very exciting pot. These lads get the money in. And look at this. We did say this guy was about to jump out the fucking window, didn't we? I mean, boy, he's jumped well and truly out the window there. I mean, we've all done it. That is just not a 3-bet hand. It's not a call of €18 4-bet hand. The guy he was clearly on Crazy Monkey Tail. We've all done it. I'm not knocking the guy because I've been there. I've 3-bet shit hands in PLO called a 4-bet and then flopped something like this and been like, oh, well, whatever. But as it happens, we would have been in like pretty good shape. We're up against like one pair over here. We're up against just two pairs here that we had like good equity against. We would have got there with the flush on the turn. And we would have won the pot, but never mind. We didn't win the pot, and we move along. It's going to be the last hand of the video. Finish it off in Time World tradition with pocket aces. This guy was still probably a little bit cheesed off. Wasn't that much later than the bad things that were happening. We've moved table, by the way. We haven't lost all our money. The table's got a bit bad, so we moved tables. As you can see, we've got some new players with not many hands on them. So we haven't dusted it all off. It's just a new table. And we're just going to mash the pot button here, I assume. Because we know this guy's just, you know, at this point he's just in suicide mode and 8 million people already in the pot. So presuming we're just going to mash the pot button and run it. Which we do. Arctic Blast just calls, saves the 930. For who knows what reason he's saving the 930, but he's saving it. He was saving it for a flop donk bet. So he now donks for, whether that is 1/7 pot. We obviously have an easy call. He's just got the king deuce, king 10, 6 deuce. Why is he allowed to have that many outs? Why is he allowed to have 18 outs with a hand he just shouldn't be fucking in with? You know, he's a favourite here, and that's just like what is going on. The guy is just like a pretty nice favourite to win this pot. He shouldn't even be in the fucking pot. I mean, come on, mate. Why? Why are you doing this to me, PLO? Why does someone call a huge raise with the fucking deuce 6 10 king and then just hit an 18 out fucking flop on me? Just fuck you, PLO. Well, he doesn't hit any of them, sadly, for him, and thankfully for us. And we end up dragging down another huge pot. At the end of what was a good session. We only played for like maybe a couple of hours, maybe not even that. But it was a good session. It was a lot of fun. And poker needs to be fun. And it certainly was. We're going now and we'll look at my stats for the month. They're not pretty, but we'll look at them anyway. First of all, that is the graph from last night's session. Very, very sexy. We were never down that much, and then we just went on like a big, big heater. We clearly ran way above EV, which who gives a fuck? Our showdown winnings don't look too bad, but they were not a non-showdown. We lost a lot of non-showdown, but I don't really care. Don't know why I clicked show rate back and bonus there, pure misclick. So that's the good news. That was that session from last night. Let's have a look at the month to date instead of just last night. That's less good. This is like all sites. This is like a bit of AAA and what have you thrown in. Got to a great start. Then we just like nothing good happened. It's not been the best of months. We were before last night's session. I think we were up like whatever that is there. It was around there-ish, I think, or something. I think it was like that. So it was like 70 euros. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. In big blinds, which is a better metric to measure these things in, I think, in terms of like how well you're actually doing. It's less bad, you know, but we still did have like a 10 buying downswing, which, you know, maybe not quite 10, maybe like 8 buying downswing, which is nothing. Don't get me wrong, but it's just irritating. I can see my volume has not been great. 16,000 hands. What's that in like hours played? So we've been very low volume. We played what? I mean, what is that? That's not what I want to see, is it? This month, don't we? Date rate this month. We've played 54 hours in 16 days, so it's like 3 and a bit hours a day. It's not great by my standards. I can do a lot better than that. You know, I could have been playing a lot more. As you can see, that it's not been great session wise. We have just started to come out of that. This was like a pretty rough few days or rough few sessions. We tightened up a little bit after that, and just tried to get the show back on the road. And then last night we decided, fuck it, we're going to play PLO. And we won $243.83 in 2 hours and 20 minutes. So yeah, that is the update. Not sure many of you will have made it this far, because I'd imagine the minute most of you saw 4 cards, you'll have fucked off. But if you have made it this far, congratulations. You get to find out where the next video is, which is I don't fucking know when. I don't even know what I'm going to be playing for the rest of the week. I mean, I took my own money back off Grosvenor last night. I took my initial deposit back off, so we got this profit to play with. I'm probably going to play some more PLO, some more 50 PLO, and just like try and spin the profit up. If I don't, then we'll probably get back on the grind later in the week. But I'd imagine my next session is more than likely going to be a PLO session at €50 on Grosvenor. And yeah, if we're making a video on possibly Thursday, if we're going to make a video again, it probably will be Thursday. If that ends up being a PLO video, then you can assume it's been a relatively good PLO week. If it ends up being no video, then you can assume it's been a bad PLO week, and we're back on the boring no limit grind. But yeah, we're going to leave it there. Hope you guys that did manage to survive all the way to the end of the video have enjoyed it. And yeah, take care. Have a good week, everybody. Congratulations again to Quadsy. And yeah, see you all in the next video. Bye-bye for now.